And I will say this is definitely going to be more of a high level overview. I know you said you wanted like more deep dive of what's going on. If you want to connect post this, Larissa would be more than happy to go more into a deep dive of like Google Analytics, for the new features and those sorts of things. This is definitely going to be more high level, but that is good to hear from a couple people. Okay, so I'm going to jump right in. This first slide's probably going to be common sense for everybody, but like, why do we use Google Analytics? Digital analytics provide insight into customer journeys. When businesses are ran offline, it's really hard to figure out how they heard about you, what they, you can't follow them around the store all the time and figure out all the 7 items that they picked up before they actually put one in a cart and checked out, right? And then you hardly know if they come back unless you're running a really advanced POS system, or how frequently they're coming back, things like that. So Google Analytics gives us a great insight into the digital world, which, everybody got a really good taste of the last couple of years when everybody had to go digital. So we focus in Google Analytics on the 3 main, pieces of a customer journey: acquisition, behavior, and conversion. So acquisition, building awareness, and acquiring user interest. So interest from people. You can do that in a few different ways, like, social media, your new YouTube channel, advertising, cross promotion, word of mouth, all sorts of ways that you advertise your business, whether that's paid or unpaid. And that's just getting them into the fold, get them to click on your website. And then tracking behavior. So what are they doing when they're there? What buttons are they clicking on? What are they most interested in? Are they always going to your FAQ page? Is that something that you need to put on your homepage instead? Things like that. And then conversion. So we want to know when people, like how people got to your site, what they did while they're there, and what was it that made them go, yes, I need this product, add to my cart and check out, or need this service. And while it's really hard to do offline, Google Analytics makes it really simple to do online. We can track everybody from the instance that they saw your ad or blog, and then they traveled through your homepage and all the way through to actually becoming a customer. So understanding the basics. So you'll see Google Analytics is a beast. I've been working with it for 2.5 years, and I still don't know all the functionalities. There's so much going on in there. And unless you're truly in it day in, day out, I don't know that anybody's actually going to get all the use of it that it provides. But here are some really important numbers that we focus on with clients that are easy to understand, and make a big difference ultimately in your business. So users is just I feel like can you guys see my mouse? Okay, cool. Yeah, so number of unique users that visit your site each month. So I may go visit your site, Brian, 3 times or 10 times, but I'm going to show up only 1 time as a unique user. So this is 1 for 1 of how many people go. Sessions is going to be repeat customers, repeat visitors. So if I went 10 times, you would see that number reflected here. So it looks like there were about 300 people who came back a few times and were not unique visitors, but they came back, which is nice. So then you go, okay, so I have about 300 people coming back to my site. What is my actual conversion on that? How do I get more of them coming back? Where did they go that interested them? Those sorts of things. And then bounce rate is the percentage of users that immediately left the site after the page loaded. So 63% is fairly high. We like to see it a little bit lower, but you definitely don't want people to like load the home page or partially load the home page and then split. And so some things that we look at when a bounce rate is really high is, what is load time like? Is it longer than a few seconds because attention span has decreased significantly? And if page load is slow, then we've got a hosting problem, or we've got a like media problem on the site that's bogging it down. Can we get some stuff off of that back end that will lower the bandwidth, the load for that site to load. And then this is actually going to be screenshots from our Google Analytics. So just kind of talk through some of these numbers. So this is a 90-day snapshot all the way through probably yesterday would be my guess, maybe the day before. So you can see pretty steady here, right around up, 100 users or so a day. And then we had this huge spike. So I'd be curious if anybody wants to like guess what that spike was about, what happened for us. If anybody feels inclined to speak up.
Something exciting.
Oh, okay. Anybody else?
Was Larissa featured in, like, did she win an award, or was she featured like in Startland or something like that?
Yeah, good guesses, but no, I wish she was. That would have been really exciting for us. No, we actually took on producing in-house content. So we started preaching, we preach to the choir all the time, tell people, tell clients what they should do, write blogs, send your newsletters, post on social media, do those sorts of things. And when you're doing, as I'm sure all of you guys can very well understand, when you're doing that for other people all the time, it can be a real challenge to do it for yourself, do it for your own business. And so that was something that we committed to early 2022, was that we were going to start producing in-house content. So we released 2 blogs a month. We got our monthly newsletters out, and then we were more active on social media. And so you can see immediately that caused a huge spike in users. It also just so happened that we opened up a position for project manager. That was my job prior. I was project manager and account manager. And I was like, this is not sustainable. I just had a baby. I need, I need help. And so we made a job posting, shared it everywhere, and it went mini viral. I use air quotes because it wasn't like, the viral that we all associate with, but it took off on a Facebook page, and we got a lot of interest and a lot of applicants. So those were kind of some exciting things. They were exciting, but not necessarily like a feature or anything like that. But definitely goes to show that when you're producing in-house content that people that is valuable, people need, that they will click and they drive back to your site. And because of that, we had a really great month in May. And so just kind of goes hand in hand with that. But if I could boil all this down to anything, it's like, do what you're preaching to your clients. And maybe you guys are better than we are at that, but sometimes it gets away from us. So those are basics. We're going to go into a little deeper look at traffic. So when you click into, Google Analytics, and you're going to click on like it's the traffic tab, and go in there, you get a table. So you'll get to see your chart, but then you'll also see a table, and down. So just, this gives you instead of a visual, it's going to give you some numbers to look at. So you can kind of compare, contrast, figure out what's going on. So we still have our users here, 159 new users. I don't know. Yeah, this is still going to be a 90-day snapshot. And then we have 159 users total. 141 of those were completely brand new. But 195 sessions. So few people came back a few times. My guess is probably it was people who were checking out our site to see if they wanted to work with us, but you never know. Could have been they liked the blog, liked what we had to say, bookmarked it, and then came back and checked out some of our services. And then we want to make sure that our new users and our total users are pretty similar. There's a little bit of a difference here, but nothing crazy. Bounce rate is reasonable, so we like to see this. So average is around 63%. So we're lower than that. Ideally, it'd be a little bit lower, somewhere around like 53 would be awesome. Yes, ma'am.
Can you say what the bounce rate is again? I never remember what that means.
Yeah, so that is people who come to your site, and as soon as it loads, they bounce. They're out, or even before it loads. So it'll track that they tried to load the URL. Maybe your site was slow to load and they didn't hang around and wait for it. So it's somebody who attempted to go to the site and for some reason changed their mind, or didn't get drawn in early enough, or your site load speed was too low. So it's pretty normal for about 60% of people. That's just the way websites work these days. We get lots and lots of people. And it's the game of sifting through to figure out who's going to stay. So right around 60%, 6 out of 10 of those people are going to go, oh, yep, not for me. But we'd like 4 or 5 of them to stay, because whatever we offered initially for them to get to the site was valuable and they want to know more.
Brelann, what is a normal bounce rate?
So average is about 60 right here. It's going to be 63%. Somewhere around there. We like to be lower, but that's pretty good. So somewhere right around there would be healthy. And then this pages per session. So that is somebody who comes to your site, they see your homepage, and then they go to a different page. Right? So we like to see them click around, unless you have a one-page website, which I'm sure most of you do not. You've probably got an about page, you've probably got a services page, a contact page, maybe a case studies, those sorts of things. And you didn't just build those pages to live on your website for no reason. You want people to go and click on them, right? So we want to see how many pages are people actually traveling to. And so you can see for us over the last 90 days, people are viewing about 2.5 pages. Average for that is going to be a page and a half. So, you know, maybe they landed on your homepage, they clicked contact, filled out a form and left. Or they wanted to learn more about you and then left. For no reason other than maybe you weren't a good fit or wasn't the right time for them, anything like that. But we'd like to definitely see them viewing more than one page. Want to have enough information on your homepage that teases them and makes them go somewhere else, but gives them enough information that they know about you, what you offer, and why you're offering it. And then average session. So average session duration, how long are they actually staying on your site? Is it 15 seconds? They're not reading anything. They're scrolling and then they're leaving, right? So you want to see it in a higher, you know, a minute. You can read through a lot in a minute because we read computers, we read screens all day long, right? So average is going to be about a minute. Are they going to stay? Are they going to read through, you know, your mission statement, your services that are listed on the homepage? They're going to get to the bottom of the page essentially. And it would take generally about a minute to go through all that content, or visit a couple of pages and go through that content. Ours was really high over these last 90 days. Again, I believe that was because of the job posting. We had a form for them to fill out, which forms take a little bit longer. So our average session duration was around 3 minutes per user. So they were coming to the site and going to be there for about 3 minutes, which doesn't sound like a really long time, but in the world of digital, it's actually a pretty significant time. That's long enough to visit, you know, quite a few pages, read all your information, maybe watch a 30-second video or something, and then go. And then goal conversion rate, these are just things, goals, completions, goals, values. We don't have those set up currently, which is why they're all going to show 0 for us. But you can set up specific goals. So, you know, did somebody, did you convert 10% of people who visited to your site, or did they complete, this survey that you had on there, or did you have a target number of, you wanted to sell $5,000 worth of your book this month? Did you reach that goal? So you can set up those goals right here. Keyword not provided. Just want to make a note about that. That just happens when you don't have Search Console connected to your analytics. And that requires you to have a Google My Business account linked to your analytics account. So you can technically make an analytics account and drop a code on your website and track things. But without that Google My Business account, you don't get, it's kind of like the top layer, the icing of the cake. You don't get much deeper look in there. And so this is just a step that a lot of people forget. They want to get a G tag up and they drop it on the site and don't actually set up a My Business. To Brian's point, My Business is really important, and to check on it is really important, because you can hide your address. A lot of freelancers work from home, so you don't need your home address up there, but you have the opportunity to show up in the Google Snack Pack, those top 3 listings. If somebody's near you and searching for a graphic designer, you just are open to the world if you have your Google My Business set up. So you can put some photos on there, your services, your hours, who you're looking to work for, those sorts of things. And just something that we find is missed a lot. Clients say, I want analytics, but they don't actually have their Google My Business. So we back it up, set up your Google My Business account, get your online presence set, and then we can start doing some deep dive tracking. Yes, ma'am.
So if you have your Google Analytics set up and you have your Google My Business set up, do they magically talk to each other, or do you have to do something to connect them?
So you can go through your tag manager and set up a My Business, or vice versa. So they will be associated with the same Google ID. Okay. So you just would go into your account settings, and then you can set up one or the other, or there's a link option. But if you're using the same email, the same login, those sorts of things, they'll go ahead and automatically connect.
Okay.
All right. This is my favorite. So this is something that you were saying that you like to use, right? Where do people come from? This is the source or medium if you go to travel to all traffic on your analytics homepage, go to all traffic and then sources and mediums. So this is going to be how people found you. Where the heck did they visit your site from? Excuse me, I need a drink of water. So this is a really great in-depth look at what's working. What are you doing that's working? The direct or none is just going to be who went to the URL and typed in nowhere.net. And who are those people? How do they even know our website? Sometimes it's us just to make sure our website's working, but which is good practice too. But it just is a nice, a good breakdown. So Google could be they're searching for a marketing company, could be searching for a web developer, or they're actually searching for nowhere consultants. Are they coming from social media? If so, is it Facebook? Is it Instagram? Is it LinkedIn? And then, you also get to see your partners. So we're MailChimp partners, your partnerships up there. So we're certified MailChimp partners. We're on their marketplace. So we can see that about 27 people over the last 90 days saw our listing on MailChimp partners and said, hey, they look interesting, we might want to work with them. You can also, this campaign is probably a newsletter. So our newsletter obviously always links back to our website. And looks like about 20 people saw our newsletter, thought it was, hilarious and the best thing they ever read, and decided to click through. Which, if you're not part of our newsletter, you should check it out, because it is actually pretty funny. Larissa has a lot of fun writing this. And then just another Facebook. So that M. is going to be mobile. Facebook.com is going to be desktop. So this is just a really nice breakdown of who's coming, where they're coming from, and why this is important is because we see that a lot of people are on Facebook on their phone and clicking through to us. So now we know we're reaching people there. How do we focus more efforts on Facebook, specifically on a mobile device? How do you can set up an ad that will only target mobile Facebook. And so we see that a lot of people are coming that way, and that's a green light go, right? We can, if there's already 150, there's more. So we can focus our time and attention there. And then Google organic, so 150 people there too. So you can get into your search dashboard. How are they finding us? What are they searching to get it? Is it relevant? Sometimes they may search. There's actually a place I believe called Nowhere, Kansas. It's a town. And if they're searching that, that's not us. We don't want to show up. So we're gonna, eliminate that keyword and kind of block it so that it's not falsifying our data, and they're not getting the wrong thing when they're searching for it. So you can kind of work that in tandem with your keywords and go, okay, these keywords are working. Are there more that we can use, or these keywords aren't working. How do we get them out and not have that jam up our data anymore? Any questions about this one?
I had a question. There's 3 different entries for Facebook. What is the difference? How do you tell the difference if they are the same there? Actually, there's
yeah, great question. So I know the m.facebook is going to be mobile and the facebook.com is going to be desktop. I'm not actually 100% confident what the ln.facebook is. Let me see if I can figure it out real quick.
maybe a link on your webpage.
Yep, exactly, through a link shim. Yep.
Link.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question.
Yes.
The source and the medium, I was looking on my analytics on my cell phone, but I don't see that. Does that only show up on the desktop?
Probably. Google Analytics is really, really robust, and to put all that on a mobile phone would be a nightmare. Like, I couldn't imagine scrolling through this table on my phone. So I would try it on your desktop and see. And if it doesn't, you can definitely send us an email and we can figure out why it's not showing you all that. But that would definitely be my guess. Anybody else? Okay. How am I doing on time? Cutting it close. It's good. We're getting to the end. So GA4, this is a new release. Google Analytics 4. It kind of turned everybody's head upside down. So behavior flow tab is this is just an example, is what we were talking about earlier, of how somebody travels through your site. What buttons are they clicking on? How do they get to the contact page? Those sorts of things. It's still there. It's just not called behavior flow tab anymore. So a lot of the same tools are there, but they're making it just a little different and a little more refined for those who use Google Analytics really intensely and frequently. And so we'll just kind of go through some of those new changes. And it's just something, Google Analytics 4, like the normal analytics isn't going away, but the 4 is something that you can turn on in your account settings. So you can go and set it up to where it will start tracking these new things. And so here's the biggest difference between normal analytics and 4. Actions in analytics are called hits. So you'll see like a website hit, a page hit, and they can do like a transaction would also be considered a hit. But now in Google Analytics 4, they're going to be events. And so if any of you are familiar with like Facebook advertising, that made the change pretty recently too, to an event-based marketing style, advertising style. So you can choose a specific event and track that. And so it just allows you to get a little deeper, to set goals for, I want X number of people or X number percentage of people coming to my site from my LinkedIn page, because I'm really focusing on growing my LinkedIn following. So you can set that up as an event and track it specifically. And so, universal analytics property hit types translate now to events. So all of them are going to be there. The general ones that they collect, your page view, their timing, their session duration, those sorts of things are all still going to be on there. They're just not going to be called hits anymore. They're going to be called events. But just kind of a verbiage change, nothing too scary, but it does allow you to set up more, set up more intentional tracking as an event types, and as you're trying to grow a specific sector of your online presence, you can track it more in depthly now.
So Brianna, I have Google Analytics already. Is there like an update for Google Analytics and it turns into event?
There is not. You actually have to turn on the Google Analytics for, I say like 4, the number 4, in your account settings. So if you just go to like your admin and then account, and then to your property, to your like website property, there's a GA4 assistant, setup assistant. And then it will just automatically connect to your current Google Analytics account, and it will just walk you through how to set up your GA4 account. And it's pretty good. It's actually really good. I mean, it's Google, so of course it's good, but It's a good setup wizard. And then as I am 1 minute over, I'm going to just do a quick review, and then that's it for me, folks. So tips to keep in mind to get the most from your analytics account. When you're working with analytics data, make sure you're setting up the same date and time range to compare apples to apples. So if I did a 90-day time range here and a 30-day here, it's not going to be the same thing. I'm not looking at the same time frame, and time is everything in marketing. People think it happens really quick. It doesn't. You need big chunks of time, right? And so just make sure you're looking at the same amount so that you're not conflating data, and either confusing yourself or not setting yourself up for success is the number one thing. So make sure you're comparing apples to apples, and then think of analytics like your engine. So connecting all the pieces, your Google My Business, all your paid advertising, your organic outreach, et cetera, to your engine is the best way to get comprehensive data. If you're doing all this work on your blog and you don't have that tracked, like what's the point? Or your newsletter specifically, like, what's the point in doing it if it's not going to help you understand, this comprehensive view, if you're not going to be able to know that it's working or not. So if you're doing specific outreach, if you're trying to grow a specific sector of your business, get it all connected so that you know that it works. It's really important because in this world, as you guys all know, it can really seem like it's not working for a long time, and it will always seem like it's not working if you're not tracking it. And then utilize exclusions. We have we work with we have both employees and contractors in our company. We have all of our own IP addresses blocked. And so made that comment earlier about like, maybe it was us going to check if the site was working. It actually wasn't us, because we have our IP addresses blocked. So anytime we go to the site to check something out, make sure our form's working or our reCAPTCHA is working or anything like that, it's not going to track us. So we're not inflating our data with our own visits. Or if I want to make sure my link tree is working on social media, which I do often, right? It's not gonna say that we had 30 clicks when I checked it every day or something like that. So just make sure you're excluding your own IP addresses, and just that will help you improve accuracy, have a better understanding of who's actually coming, who are new visitors, and those sorts of things. And then finally, this is just fun. Remember, without data, it's just your opinion. You don't actually know, right? So data helps back up everything, whether it's for your own business or for a client's business. If you have the ability to go in and show them exactly what's happening because you have everything cohesively working, then and there's no arguing with that. It's just the facts. So that is all that I have. I had no idea how I was going to stretch it to 30 minutes, but I did it. Thank you guys all so much for listening and for the questions and participating with my little funny asks. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much. We really appreciate you. Do you have a few minutes to stick around if people have questions at then? Okay, perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will go ahead and drop our stuff in the chat while we're going.
Please, perfect. If anyone has any questions, feel free to come off mute and ask your question.
So if I wanted to get, I don't know much about Google Analytics. I know that it is important after being here and listening to you, Brelann. I think it's really important that I try to understand what it is that's going through the traffic on my website. So is there kind of like a booklet or a site or a place that I could go to kind of give me some definitions without bothering people?
Yeah, absolutely. So there is actually like an analytics training on Google. So if you just Google Analytics training, they have a really basic training session. It's free. You just register for it, and you can go through that. And it's videos. It's really interactive and super helpful. So it'll go through a lot of what I covered, but then go much deeper too. And you can kind of take that as far as you want. So they have like a beginner, an intermediate, and advanced. So depending on how interested you get in it, you can really take that training as far as you want.
Thank you.
Yeah, great question. Anybody else?
Okay. Well, if you decide that you have any other questions later on, You can always email me at the Freelance Exchange, and I can pass on the questions to Brelann to make sure that you get the answers that you need. She just put the contact information for Nowhere Consultants in the chat, so feel free to check them out and see what they are all about, and potentially they can help out your business. So Brelann, thank you so much for coming. I know it was last minute, but you did an excellent job, and we
Thank you.
really, really appreciate your time today and everything that you did. So thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for being so gracious, guys. I appreciate it.
Of
And
course.
patient with me.
Yes.